Every year, we get on the show and college football fans and people in sports media talk about which conference is the best. And it really falls into two categories. Either you think the SEC is the best conference or you think the SEC is overrated. So I'm coming to you once again with just the numbers. And I get accused of SEC bias because I'm from the state of Alabama. But listen, I could be from where Kroger started. I still understand that Walmart is more dominant, okay? Just because you're born somewhere doesn't mean you're wrong for looking at the true numbers. So last night, after Georgia pulled down TCU's pants in front of God and everybody at the high school and won 65-7, it gave the SEC its 14th national championship in the last 23 years. So since 2000, the SEC has won 14 of them. An argument that people make is, oh, well, it's just Alabama, our one team, our two teams. Wrong again. 4 different SEC teams now have won the national championship twice. That's right, 4, okay? LSU, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. In that same span of time, we've seen Auburn win a national championship. Ohio State's won it twice. Clemson's won it twice. Those two teams are in a different conference. So regardless, that doesn't mean that the SEC is going to continue this dominance forever. But how many times must the SEC win the national championship and then the NFL draft for some of you people in the sports media world to just be humble and sit down, okay, to quote Kendrick Lamar? The SEC is the juggernaut of college football. That's how it is right now. But you look at the Pac-12, who's on the come up, with it seems like every quarterback coming back. Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., Cam Rising. I can literally go down the list. Caleb Williams, the Heisman winner. You look at the Big 12, who just sent a team to the national championship. Now, maybe they can get a first-round pick in the NFL draft, but even with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, there seems like Kansas State, TCU, we know what Baylor's done with Dave Aranda. The Big 12 has kind of come back from the dead, similar to the Pac-12. You look at the ACC, there's some question marks there, but Florida State looks really good. You know Clemson's going to be good as long as Dabo keeps praying. Wake Forest lost Sam Hartman. It's going to get interesting. How deep can that conference get? And then with the Big 10, you look at Ohio State and Michigan and their dominance. Penn State coming off a big year, and they got a really good quarterback in Drew Aller that's replacing Sean Clifford there. So college football is healthy. You can say that on one hand, and then on the same hand, say, listen, the SEC is just dominant, because it is right now. And last night was an exclamation point. And like the great philosopher Little Tunchi said, men lie, women lie, and numbers don't lie. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback, guy who did a really good job betting last night. Guys, we hit a lot of live bets last night.
It was fun.
The kid walked away from last night up $275. Okay, and that's without me putting the money on Georgia over 51 points at plus 500. But we're not going to bring that up again because I was talked out of it by someone I love very much and I'm excited to see after the show. But David, again, what Michigan's doing is very impressive with Jim Harbaugh. You look at the way Ohio State played Georgia. And that's why you can't use the transitive property in these games. TCU beats Michigan. Georgia sneaks by Ohio State. Georgia destroys TCU. The transitive property should stay in the math classroom. But when you look at college football, 14 out of 23 is 61%. If you have one conference, I don't care if it's basketball, I don't care if it's football, baseball, hopscotch, that thing you do with the Chinese finger trap, you're winning 61% of championships. It's pretty daggum good.
No, it is. And your numbers add up to right about the time I was entering college, because what the SEC has done for those 14, 15 years is just truly extraordinary. But it wasn't like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
When I think of the most dominant college football programs in the dynasties when I was growing up, my mind immediately thinks of Miami, early 2000s, Southern California right after that, Florida State, late 90s with Chris Winkie and the guys, Nebraska, mid 90s. None of those teams are in the SEC. So it wasn't really like that so much when I was growing up. But beyond just the SEC, I just want to focus in on Georgia. You don't win back-to-back national championships by having one good recruiting cycle. You don't even do it by making one right coaching hire. The only way a program can do something like this is to have a complete dedication to excellence. And this goes way, way back. When I think of that Georgia G, I think of Vince Dooley. and what he was able to do to set the foundation for this. His assistant coaches like Irk Russell before he went to Georgia Southern, passing that baton on to Mark Richt. I don't think it can be overstated, despite the fact that Mark Richt didn't win a national championship at Georgia, just how much the current success we're seeing for the University of Georgia is owed to Mark Richt for taking care of that program and operating at such a high level, not only on the field, but what he was able to do with graduating players. His players rarely got in trouble. They were disciplined well. Mark Richt, a heck of a coach. And then Kirby Smart, all he's done since he's been in is turned on the screws, poured gasoline on this thing, and taken it straight to the top. And I'm very interested to watch how a man acts when he's trying to make it to the top. But then I'm equally as interested to see how a man acts once he's reached the top. And we saw, take a team like 2019 LSU, as impressive as it gets on the football field. And that success led to quite the destruction of Coach Ed Orgeron, both professionally and personally in the aftermath after an undefeated 2019 season. All Kirby Smart has done since winning the national championship is button down and said, that's not enough. We need to come in every day with a mindset that we're going to be the best team in college football. Now they repeat as national champions. Now, I have some bad news for the Georgia fans. You're not going to win every championship from now to the rest of existence. It feels like that right now in the aftermath. You're not going to win every game, and the first loss that does happen, there's going to be an Alabama effect. How did we lose a football game? But on the other side of that, bad news for college football is Kirby Smart's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. And there's a monster in Athens.
There is. And Blaine, you saw Nick Saban on set last night.
Yeah.
If you're Nick Saban, it's such an interesting situation to me because, Kirby Smart is basically your protege. Well, one of your top protege. Really, it was Kirby Smart. It was Jeremy Pruitt. There's, been a couple other guys. But if you're Nick Saban right now and you're as old as he is, and you're watching what Kirby is doing, and you've watched the game change with NIL and the transfer portal and things like that, do you think Saban comes back 3 times as hard as he's been going? Or is this something where it's I'm just proud of Kirby, I've won mine, I still want to win, but that competitor in Nick Saban deep down, I feel like it just kind of burns him up a little.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be Kirby Smart is what pushes Nick Saban to go harder or in recruiting or what he does. I think
Georgia.
I think Nick's going to be Nick no matter. Nick's worried about himself and his program. That's what Nick's worried about. He's not worried about Georgia. He's not worried about this or that. That's what makes Nick so great. If anything, obviously hates losing, but he has to be somewhat happy to see this. I mean, Kirby was basically like a son to this man when he played there. It's like watching your kid grow up. You finally turned into the Jedi everybody thought you were. And let's think about one thing. Georgia's a young football team. Other than Stetson, who's like 36, they're bringing almost everybody back on that team. Yeah. Brock Bowers is coming back. I mean, everyone who's going to be in the league probably next year is coming back on that team. So no, I don't think Nick looks at Kirby and says we have to push harder here. There's a blueprint Nick Saban's always stuck by. That's why he's been so successful throughout the years, and that's what Kirby Smart's doing. You can see he's building it from the inside out, and it starts with recruiting. The apple didn't fall far when it comes to Nick and Kirby. Now Kirby still has some work to do to get where Nick is. I don't know if he'll ever get there, but they're on the right track. But right now, Georgia is dominating college football. And I don't really see that changing in the next couple of years. Are they going to win the Natty every year? Obviously, no. Alabama's going to be there. Michigan's going to be there. There's going to be certain teams there. But right now, Georgia is the top dog, no pun intended.
Hey, YouTube, what's up? Look, our numbers are going up because of you guys. Make sure you subscribe. Go ahead and share our channel and turn that notification bell on so you know every time that we're going live and dropping content because we literally drop content every day. Appreciate y'all. Again, check us out.